Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Late Night Talks podcast. My name is Hafid, also known as Hafidos, and today is the Christmas special, which is exciting because it's the episode before the final episode. Today's going to be a bit of a long one because we're going to be talking about everything I don't believe in anymore now that I'm a 21-year-old adult, I'd like to say. Basically, this is a compilation of everything and anything I either stopped believing in or just had doubts in growing up. Never really trusted myself in believing in it or never fully immersed myself in it. Um, I do want to start off with quite light-hearted stuff and get into the more deeper stuff as the episode goes along. So make sure that you tune in to be able to see the deeper, secret, dark parts of it. I'm gonna get into stuff like religion and like just general morals, I guess. But like, first off, I want to start off with something light, which is on brand with today's episode. Since it is Christmas Eve, happy Christmas, happy holidays. I am wearing my Christmas sweater. This is one out of two Christmas sweaters I currently have. And if you go over to Hafidos IRL, you'll be able to see my other Christmas sweater, which I baked brownies in. So make sure to check that out. Let me plug my vlogging channel for a second. But yeah, so first off, I do want to talk about when I did stop believing in Santa Claus or Father Christmas, for those of you who might know him by his other name. So generally speaking, I am okay. Just as a bit of context, I am the youngest out of three siblings. We're all boys, and I am the youngest one. I was born in 2003, and between me and the middle child, it's 2.5 years, and between me and the eldest child, it's like 8 years. So with the eldest child, with my eldest brother, it's quite like we're not in the same area of like having relatively the same likes and dislikes, I guess. But with my middle brother, it's quite similar since he was born in 2000s and I was born in 2003, but he was born in the like late part of 2000s and I was born in the early part of 2003, so that's why it's 2.5 years. But basically, when he found out that Father Christmas or Santa Claus doesn't exist, he broke the news to me. But it's funny because I acted like he just changed my entire world and I acted like he just broke this reality for me. But in reality, I actually did not believe in Father Christmas before that, before he even found out, because I always had doubts and I always had questions in my mind how much the idea of a man coming into your house and leaving presents did not make sense. And I will get more into that in a bit. But basically, he told me that Father Christmas doesn't exist. I acted like he just broke some crazy ass news. He got into trouble with my mom because after my mom found out that he broke the news to me that Father Christmas doesn't exist. And then basically, I got the upper hand with being like, oh no, I'm the young child that doesn't know that Father Christmas exists anymore. And then I fucked up because then I went to school and I proceeded to break the news to the rest of the kids. And it was quite later in my age. I was like 12. My brother was 14. And when I told some of the kids at my school, which I expected them to know at the age of 12, you're quite old. Yeah, I when I broke the news, some of them actually still believed in Father Christmas. And I felt bad because I was joking around. I was like, oh, yeah, my brother told me that Father Christmas doesn't exist. And some of them actually thought he existed. And I was like, no, come on. You must be kidding. But basically, here in Malta, Father Christmas is a bit weird because we don't have chimneys. Or people who have chimneys, it's quite a rare thing to have since weather doesn't get really cold during the winter time. So there really isn't any use to have a chimney other than for aesthetic reasons. But the way people explain Father Christmas, or the way my mom explained Father Christmas to me, was that we need to leave the balcony window slightly open to be able to let this man come into the house and leave the presents. on Christmas Eve. To me, it's quite funny to imagine this big fat man with a sleigh and reindeers park himself on a tiny ass balcony and just get off, open up the balcony window without me and my brother noticing, come in and leave the presents. Make it make sense. But basically, the way I found out that Father Christmas wasn't real, the real version, because my brother broke the news, but that wasn't the real version, was I decided to close the balcony window one of the nights. I woke up throughout the night and I just woke up and I just closed it. And I was like, what will happen now? He doesn't have a way in. Is he just going to break the window? Is he not going to show up? Yeah, basically the presents were still there. And I was like, something doesn't make sense. And even when we used to make Christmas lists as kids, like my parents would give me these like magazines from shops locally here in Malta, and they would be like, cut out anything you want and put them down on a list and we'll mail it. Them mailing it was not it. They didn't mail it. They actually just took us to the shop because we were too young to be left home alone. So we would go to the shops with them and we would browse. And I always noticed that my mom and dad would go to the side and talk to the workers there. And I was like, it's kind of weird that we're at the store that we saw the magazine for. But at the same time, I knew that they were getting the presents. But I kept on believing in Father Christmas and in Santa Claus because in my young mind, I thought that if I stopped believing in this figure, in this man, the presents would stop coming because my parents would no longer want to leave the presents under the Christmas tree. So I was like, oh, let me play along, let me have some fun. Let me enjoy this. It's funny because even with the tooth fairy, sometimes I would like get a baby tooth out and I would purposefully not tell my parents so that I leave the baby tooth under my pillow without them knowing. And I did this like I think 2 or 3 times, but whenever I did it, I would always check and the money wouldn't be there. And I would be like, ma, like, it's so weird. The tooth fairy didn't leave money. And she's like, you lost a tooth? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, oh, maybe the tooth fairy got busy. Maybe she'll leave money the next night. She proceeds to leave the money the next night. But it's funny that if I don't tell my parents wouldn't know. So I'm like, I'm on to you guys. But like, it's fun to be a kid and, play along with the idea of there being this like, I don't know, fantasy figure, fantasy element to life. Like, even though it wasn't realistic and even though it didn't make sense, it was nice to still believe in it. But yeah, something weird which I believed in, which is like a side note. As a kid, I always thought that underneath the faucet and even in the zebra crossing lights, there would be goblins. These like short ass goblins. The goblins from Frozen, those like rock monsters. Yeah, I thought those existed in the sewers and like in the alleyway, not alleyways, in the manholes, the sewage system basically. I thought they existed all around the world and basically they controlled everything and they were the guys in charge of like checking the lights, how much the lights were being used, how much the water was being used, how much like when you want to cross the street they would always make it stop. So like I would always think that they're watching me and they're doing it purposefully, that I go and I want to cross and the lights just turn. Yeah, it's very dumb. And I also thought that when you open the water, if you don't let the water go down what's it called, um the sinkhole, what is it even called? I don't know, the sinkhole where the water goes down, the drain, that's the word, the drain. If you don't let the water go down the drain, the water wouldn't be counted to the bill. So I would always try to trick the goblin that existed in the faucet, and I would always look down when the water is meant to be going down, just to be able to see if that I'll see the goblin. I don't know where I got this idea from. I just know that I believed in it, and I as a kid, I always thought that was something that existed. And when you grow up and you share these like ideas with others and people are like, yeah, I did this, yeah, I did that growing up, and everyone's like, oh, I never had a unique experience growing. I feel like this is something which is unique, quite unique to me, is me believing in goblins existing in the sewage system. It does not make any sense, and I don't know where I got it from, but it's funny to think back about, and I still remember it so vividly. But yeah, even when you go to the zebra crossing and you press the button, I always thought that when you press the button, the signal goes down to the goblins, and the goblins, make sure that, oh, this part was checked, so let's like set a 15-second timer to go off. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I do want to say that next ones are going to be more opinionated beliefs rather than like actual factual beliefs. So I feel like it's quite subjective. Yeah, it's quite subjective to whether or not you would believe in it. But personally, this is my point of view as of now. It could change in the future, it could stay the same. So I'm just gonna put it out there. This episode is all about things you sort of have gotten to terms with as you grow up. The next one is that life is fair. Growing up, I always thought that life is fair, and I always thought about this idea of having karma. Even though I wasn't brought up religious, I always thought there was this like higher being that made sure that everything was balanced. And to be honest, as I grow up, I just realized more and more that life doesn't make sense. Life is so unpredictable, and just life itself isn't as even as all of us would like to think. Sometimes I would want something and I would work really hard towards it and I wouldn't be able to get it. And sometimes I wouldn't want something and I wouldn't even give any fucks about it and I would get it so easily. And even with sometimes looking at people's situations and people's experiences, you would see one person doing really well in life, but they haven't even tried at all. And then another person like doing their best, but they're not able to get to the point they want to, or they can't even catch a break. And I'd be like, why is life like that? And to be fair, the more I grow, the more I realize that life doesn't make sense. Life shouldn't make sense. And I feel like that is the nice thing about life, is that today you could be living one way and tomorrow could be totally different just because life decided to change up. Saying that, I do really believe in the idea of manifestation, but not in the way that most people think. So when people say manifestation, they're like, oh, I think of something and it happens. I feel like it's like a placebo. If you focus in, if you focus and like sort of hyperfixate on an issue at hand or something you really want in life, whether or not you want to, you'll work towards it. And even when people say that life works out and sometimes they don't do anything and somehow life works out, I feel like that's the same logic, is that when you know that you're in a tough situation in life, whatever the circumstances, whether you're not doing well at school, whether you're not passing a certain exam, whether you're, I don't know, not having the best dating life, when you hyperfixate on those aspects in life, you somehow manage to do the right things to be able to get to the goal that you have put that to yourself. Does that make sense? I think it does. But like, you thinking about it makes you work towards it, whether you know it or not. And yeah, it's this entire thing of you already knowing and you already being aware of it is like the first step. And whether you put in the work or not is like, it's controversial because sometimes you might not put in the work, but still it works out. But I feel like even when you don't put in the work, you knowing what the right decisions are and you knowing what the right outcomes should be are the right things to do. Because during COVID, sometimes I used to study math and physics, and sometimes I would tell myself, oh, I will do well in this exam. Or, yeah, I always manage to pass my exams, so I won't study for this one. And when I tell you the reality check you get when you don't pass an exam, or when you expect an outcome and the outcome isn't what you think it was, yeah, then you actually start doing the right things and you actually start working towards the right situations. But I feel like that's when reality hits and when you get a reality check which sometimes is really needed. Sometimes people really need to be humbled, and sometimes they really need to be like put in their place, I guess, like put in the spot that they're at and made aware of, hey, listen, this is what life is. And sometimes I do need that. Sometimes I do really wish I could see myself from the outside and be able to see inside and be like, whoa, this is how I'm perceived by the world. But yeah, that's something else that I don't necessarily believe, is that life just works itself out, because in reality it doesn't. And the whole idea of someone being a main character, I discussed this with my brother recently. We were talking about a movie, and I was talking about how dumb the plot was, because the main character somehow managed to live through a tsunami which crashed into a plane, and the main character was inside of the plane, and everyone on the plane basically died except for her. And I was like, and she was sitting on the window seat on the plane, which wasn't even up in the air, it was parked, and the wave hit on the window and it killed everyone except for her. She stayed alive. And I told him how dumb that was, because it's not realistic. And he was like, oh, but like that would be a sad ending. And I'm like, that's the whole point of a movie, is to capture that like realistic, authentic sort of life aspect. You know, when you have a realistic and like sort of an authentic film, it is what gives the movie itself emotion. And I even spoke about like how even if the character wasn't meant to die, let's just add some character development. When I tell you I was watching this movie and this character felt so flat and so two-dimensional, I was like, the movie started and the movie ended with the character being the same. You know, a bunch of people died, a bunch of buildings were destroyed, but the character stayed the same. And I'm like, what's the point? You know, why make her the main character? And I told him it's not realistic of life. And he's like, yeah, but like in life, some people are main characters. And that's something I don't believe. I don't believe people are main characters. I believe that everyone in life is just a side character. Whether you like it or not, we are all just side characters. We are side characters, and we put ourselves and we make ourselves believe that we are the main characters of certain storylines when we're not. Which, to be fair, it's sometimes nice to understand that, hey, listen, you are not a main character, because I swear to God, too many people have main character syndrome, and too many people think that the world revolves around them. And I'm like, just live in the niceness and in the comfort of knowing that you are a side character. I can have my own sub plot lines that no one gives a fuck about. Only I do. And that is enjoyable and that is nice, you know? So why would you want everyone and anyone to want that sort of attention onto you? It's something I also struggle with sometimes. So I'm quite a fashion person. Now, when I'm abroad, I really do enjoy dressing up. And when I'm abroad, I really do enjoy putting on outfits just because I want to. And even when I'm in Malta, I dress up just because I feel like it. You know, if I'm going out to a coffee, let me live my lo-fi Studio Ghibli aesthetic. You know, let me dress up like a cutesy cafe boy, even though it's not realistic, even though no one dresses like that, even though it's only seen on Pinterest boards, but let me do it. Tell me why when I walk outside the door, I feel so anxious with all the eyes looking at me. I notice so many people looking at me. And most of the times when I do mention this to people, when I mention that I don't feel comfortable with people looking at me, they're like, oh, they're just admiring your outfit, or they're admiring the way that you presented yourself. And I'm like, no, if someone looks at me, the first thing I think is, what is wrong? You know, do I have something dumb on my face? Do I have I don't know, am I wearing pants? Am I doing something dumb? Do I look stupid? Is something wrong? You know, that's the first thing I think. And that's the first thing that like panics me. And the way I panic and the way I stress, and I just, the thing I do to be able to de-stress and like sort of keep myself busy and keep myself like, mm, what's the word? When you wanna, I keep myself distracted. That's the word. The way the thing I do to keep myself distracted is I just grab my phone and I look down and I just, when I tell you, I just swipe through apps and I'm just closing apps and I'm opening different apps and I'm just closing. I cannot be in front of people unless I know them. I feel like strangers really scare me. When it's like people I know what they're thinking to some certain extent. But it's when it's not people I know, I'm like, oh God, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm nervous. But yeah, that's what was me not believing in. Oh, main characters. Yeah, I don't believe that there are main characters. I believe everyone has a side character. So you should live with life. You should live life not thinking that people care. Because if you do, you're trying to be a main character, and that's not a vibe. Or is it? Maybe be the main character of all side characters, or be the side character of all side characters. That's like side character squared. What am I even saying at this point? Am I even making sense? Okay, so the next thing I don't believe in is letting things happen on their own. I like I stopped believing in this past year because when I tell you I've spent the longest time telling myself, oh, the time isn't right. Oh, I'll just wait for it to be the right time. Oh, I'll just wait for it to, I don't know, somehow stumble its way into my life. And the best way to make shit happen is to actually do it and to actually work towards it. Because when you just let it happen, it will never happen. When I tell you, I've been telling myself, I've been keeping myself in denial by saying, oh yeah, it'll happen. Oh yeah, it hasn't happened. Things I've been telling myself for years that will happen have not happened. I've just been telling myself, oh, it's not the right time. Oh, it's not the right situation. And I'm like, Hafiz, you could have spent that time just working towards it passively. You could have just done it really slowly but surely. And now I I just am non-stop like grinding and speed running everything I can in life. Because something else which is quite a struggle is trying to understand where you're at in life. Tell me why there's no guidebook to life after the age of, I don't know, 18. Like I feel like I turned 17 and COVID hit. 18, 19, 20 disappeared. Turned 21 last year and I'm here. I don't know how I got here. I don't know what happened. But yeah, now I'm thrown into life being a 21-year-old and I have to figure stuff out. And I'm like, what do I do? What don't I do? I feel so behind in life. Yet I look back at life and I tell myself, oh yeah, I got a lot done. I am proud at the point I am at. But at the same time, I look around and I'm like, oh, I feel so behind. But then again, I tell myself, there's a lot of 21-year-olds that haven't achieved stuff I did. But also, I look at 21-year-olds that have achieved more than me and I wanna strive to be like them. And I feel like that is quite a healthy mindset to be at, is to always want more, not to settle for what you have. Because if you are always driven to want the unattainable or what other people might believe to be unrealistic, you can make it realistic just by working towards it and just by like me, for example, with getting first in class in my when I graduated. It was something I taught to myself first year. Like in first year I already established that I want to graduate by being first in class, if that was possible. And I never told myself, hey, if I don't get first in class I'll be disappointed. I just wanted it to happen, and I just worked as hard as I could, knowing that this degree would be my one and only degree, do things as though your life depends on them, even though it doesn't. But putting yourself in the mindset that your life does really does make you appreciate and strive for more and strive for better. Like sometimes I would spend days on presentations and on pitches and on, I don't know, assignments, and I would tell myself, why am I putting in so much work towards this? Why am I, like, for example, even with editing, like sometimes I would do like the baking video. I spent an all-nighter editing that video. And to be fair, I posted that video like a day ago and it only has 30 views. It's okay. It's okay. I love every single view that video has gotten, but it really does like punch you in the gut when you like I spent an all-nighter editing that video because the next day I had Secret Santa with friends, with my close friends, and basically I told myself, hey, I need to edit and upload this video. And I've been really consistent with the vlogs, and I've been really consistent with the videos, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm really proud of myself for being so consistent online, even with like the reaction videos, with the edits. I recently did an edit for Superscar by Adela, which I had so much fun doing. It was my first ever mixed media project, and it was so nice to just be able to like put myself in a professional mindset, because I feel like I've done so much content. Like, for example, even with the podcast, it's like even with TikToks, and even I've been trying to do short form. Guys, please be proud of me. I've been doing my best. I've been trying. But basically I live, breathe, and I don't know, just immerse myself in the work I do, which is content creation, and like even with more professional stuff. So music video editing, like with music videos, like music video direction and stuff like that. I have the second channel, which is Hafidos too, and I basically react to only music videos. And I do that just to be able to get inspired and be able to like further my knowledge. But also at the same time, I just want to entertain, and that is a big part of me. But when you like for example, I spent an all-nighter editing that video, and I did it because I really wanted to get it out, and I really wanted to be consistent, and I really wanted to sort of put myself to that, like, hey, listen, you said, you told yourself you would upload this on Sunday, you know? So I did it. But to be fair, it does punch you in the gut, and it does really demotivate you knowing that the video got 30 views in 24 hours. Like, why can't I just, and I know it's not an issue of my editing, and I know it's not to boast, but I know it's not an issue of my editing, and I know it's not the video, and I know it's not the title, and I mean, it could be the title, but I like the title. The style of the video is baking, which is quite in the theme of like, the Christmassy mood, and it is also in the, like, the editing is quite like chaotic, which is quite me. If you see my vlogging channel, it's kind of messy because sometimes I'll have those really aesthetic, nice videos, and then I'll have the really chaotic, brain rot videos. And those videos mostly are edited throughout the night. Like at 3 a.m., I'll be like inserting random memes. But a lot of people that have seen the baking video have told me how much they've really enjoyed the video itself, and how much they've really like laughed out loud watching it, which is nice. And it's like my main goal, it's to just entertain. And it was such a dumb like idea. I just did it because I was home alone, and I was like, oh, let me get up to something. But like I feel like I have so many ideas, and I have so many things I want to do, but at the same time I don't want to like overcommit, because I'm scared that I'll regret it later on. But also at the same time, I would love for YouTube and for like just content creation to become my full time, and just become the thing I do every day, because I feel like I already spend so much time working on certain things that I never upload, or projects that I think about, or even just ideas that I never execute, because I'm always like, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if this is dumb. And speaking on dumb, Maya Fam, Maya Fam recently dropped a hoodie line with Alchemy. This is me plugging Alchemy. But Maya Fam, for those of you who don't know, is this New York-based vlogger, but I would call her like a lifestyle glow-up influencer. Like, her videos are so motivating because she literally vlogs her like breakdown days, but she gets her life together. And it's basically something I would love to do on my channel on Hafidos IRL, because I really do go through those days where I'm like, I have days where I break down. I'm in bed for like 2-3 days, and I'm like, okay, time to get my life together, time to get my shit together. But yeah, it's always so nice to be able to relate to someone. But basically, she dropped a hoodie line because she has a clothing line, and her clothes are really nice. I wish I could order them, but the shipping is crazy expensive. And to be fair, I'll just wait until like I'm a millionaire or something, and be like, oh, let me get 5 hoodies from Maya Fam, from Alchemy, not Maya Fam, but like she makes the hoodies. But basically the latest drop says your mm, your idea of being perceived as dumb is what holds you back. I don't know if that's exactly what it says, but it's along those lines. And I just love that so much. Because in life, I do so many things. I hold myself from doing so many things because I think it's dumb. But at the same time, when I've done things that weren't typical, or when I've done things that have done well, people all of a sudden have this switch from going, oh, this is dumb to, oh, this is smart. And it's so like, it's like the same thing as having the brat trend. Brat is brat until it's no longer brat. You know, brat isn't brat if you call it brat. That makes so much sense. But it's the fact that the unpopular different thing is the thing that makes it so unique. Once it becomes the mainstream trend, it isn't unique anymore. And it's the same thing I tell myself when I complain and I sort of overanalyze and I keep on, I don't know, I keep on telling myself, oh, I should strive for mainstream. Why am I hearing water trickling? Am I experiencing a leak? Um, okay. My wall randomly started making water trickling sounds. I think the neighbors just flushed the toilet or something. But yeah, basically, I keep on going between these mindsets of being like, oh, I can't wait until my channel takes off and I'm like a public figure, you know? I'd like to believe that someday I'll be a public figure, a notable figure in the YouTube space or just the social media space in general, you know, like people like, I mean, I wouldn't say PewDiePie because that's a big ass name, but you know, people like Pokimane, Valkyrie. Recently, Gloom came back. She went on a break for like 3 years. I think it's been 3 years since she took a break. I think. Is it 3 years? I feel like it's a lot, but I think it has been 3 years. Yeah. Um, but yeah, these notable figures that, to be fair, I could walk outside and I could ask them some random stranger and they don't know them. But if you're chronically online and you know these people, I want to be one of the people that people know from being chronically online, you know? But also I tell myself I really would appreciate the starting stage of that, which is having that like niche community and having that space where only certain amounts of people know you. Because something else which um I can't really talk about experiencing it. Well, I did kind of experience it, but it's not the same. Basically, I did start vlogging when I was 16, and when I went to my degree, some people did recognize me from the vlogs that I did upload when I was 16. So I guess I'd say that was my first ever fan interaction. I don't know if I could say that, but like, I still have yet to experience the, oh my god, it's Hafidos, can I have a picture with you? That sort of interaction, which to be fair, I can't imagine myself experiencing because I don't know what I would do. I'd be like, you know how scary it is when people, how scary it is when people say they know you online. Like, I've had people come like into my messages and be like, oh hey, I've seen your vlog, it's really nice, or oh hey, I've listened to the podcast. When people say they've listened to the podcast, I feel like it's over because sometimes I forget that the podcast is open to the public, you know. To me it feels like this is something which is, you only know about it if you know about it, you know. You need to go looking for it, it's not out there just randomly. So people saying that they know the podcast because they've seen it around, I'm like, I'm hoping you didn't listen to everything, because if I have someone listen to all of the episodes, I'm like, they know so much about me. You're basically in my head, which is scary, you know, having some stranger say that. But also at the same time, I'm posting it for a reason, you know. I'm putting myself in that situation. So at the same time, I can't really blame the person for watching the stuff that I put out. But also it's me being an attention seeker because I hate the attention, but also at the same time I want it, because if I didn't want it, why am I posting it? Make it make sense, Hafid. Okay, now onto the actual serious stuff because I feel like I've been blabbing for quite some time and I've gone down a tangent which doesn't make sense for this episode. But to be fair, I'm just letting it all out for this episode because it's it's almost the finale for late night talks, and I really hate the feeling that I'm getting of like, oh, it's ending because I can't. Like, I've been doing this for almost 3 months, I'd like to say. We're on episode 10, so that means 2 months and like a half. Yeah, no, we're on to episode 11. What am I saying? It's like, yeah, it's 2 months and a half, almost 3 months. But, um, yeah, I can't imagine myself a Tuesday coming around and me not panicking to record an episode or like panicking to like think of a topic to talk about. So, I don't know, it's gonna be weird once the new year rolls around, but it's ending on a really great time. You know, the 31st, then we're gonna have New Year, and then New Year, most people go through the phase of having New Year, New Me. Oh god, that's something else I don't believe in. The entire idea of having like what are they called again? New Year's resolutions. I hate those so much. I'm sorry, but no one ever sticks to them. They're these idealized version of like, oh, I'm gonna fix myself, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. The whole idea of having a new year, new me is so over glorified and over like it doesn't have to be a new year. Like even the new year itself is kind of overrated. It's just the earth making a rotation around the world. Realistically, our new year individually would be when our birthdays are. Like our birthdays are the new year's to ourselves. So like it doesn't really make sense to celebrate the new year and say that you're entering a new year, new you. But also at the same time, I am a victim and also a player in the idea of having New Year's resolutions and this entire idea of that you're gonna change yourself and you're gonna be a brand new person and you're gonna work on yourself because I do it so much and most of the times it doesn't even last till March. Last year, last year I buzzed my hair because of New Year. I was like, ooh, New Year, new me. Let me buzz my hair. And yeah, I told myself I would do so many things that never actually happened. But hey, I still did certain things which did manage to happen. So I'm like happy with that. But yeah, sometimes people just get way too into the entire thing of having New Year, new me and New Year's resolutions. And to be fair, I'm also thinking about making an entire like vlog about over on Hafidos IRL, just talking about New Year's resolutions and like my unrealistic New Year's resolutions because I know that in like once Christmas passes, which is like 2 days, I'm just gonna be like, oh, now I need to think about New Year's resolutions because they're kind of fun to make. You know, they're kind of fun to just think about things that you might want to work on, but you also know that you won't be committed to. Yeah. Okay. Now onto the nitty gritty parts, which is the first serious topic of this episode. No, um, but I do want to talk a bit about religion, which is something I don't really talk about that much, but I feel like I should. So, a bit of context. My mom's from Morocco, my dad's Maltese. My mom is agnostic ish. She was brought up with the Muslim culture and Muslim religion overall in Morocco, alongside with my grandma was super religious, and even my family from my mom's side is quite religious. They're Muslim. My mom is religious, but also the way I see it, she is much more agnostic rather than Muslim, because like she believes in a God and she believes that religion is like an individual experience. So I do get the vibe that she's giving off, but also at the same time, she doesn't agree with like with certain things that are said in the Islamic religion, but she still like labels herself as being Muslim because she was brought up in that environment and she was brought up in that culture. So of course you will go with what's familiar and what's most, I don't know, feels the comfiest and the safest. Whereas my dad was what's it called? An altar boy. My dad was an altar boy, and my dad's side of the family is Catholic. Because in Malta, it's not even just Christian; it's Catholic. Because the Romans or something. But yeah, basically it's ultra religious here in Malta. There's churches every 5 minutes. But my dad was an altar boy, but now he's like full on atheist. He doesn't believe in anything. He did switch over to being Muslim because of like to be able to marry my mom, because that's a rule in Islamic religion, I guess, and to be able to just appease my mom's family. But yeah, being brought up in Malta, having my mom being Muslim, my dad being Maltese, and not Muslim, oh God, my mom being Moroccan, my dad being Maltese, but also having my mom being Muslim and my dad being, he was just straight up atheist. He never cared about religion. And my mom my mom had a really nice and healthy way of letting us believe in whatever we wanted to, as long as it was respectful and we just understood what everyone else believed, and we just were open to anything and everything. We had friends of ours who had like, what's it called when the baby gets baptisms? We had baptisms that we attended as families. We had weddings that we attended as families. Um, but yeah, we go to churches, but not we don't go to churches voluntarily. We just go in terms of like occasions and like to celebrate. But even the mosques, like here in Malta, there's only one mosque, and we've been there a couple of times when it was a special occasion, but never really was I brought up with anything specific, anything in particular. All I know is growing up, I always felt jealous of my friends being able to have the confirmation because they got to dress up and they got so many gifts, and I never got that. Like, imagine these kids dressing up all fancy with dresses and stuff and like suits, and I was like, I didn't even go to school that day, and I felt so jealous. Even them having this is gonna sound so dumb, but to me, it sounded like a treat and it looked like it was fun. When you have, is it mass? Yeah, when you have mass and they and they go up to the priest and the priest gives them, in Maltese it's called ostia. I don't know what it is in English. It's basically the wafer that he gives them that is like Jesus's body and like his blood, and I'm like, that looks kind of tasty, you know? But I don't mean to say that as like being disrespectful. If you are religious and you're watching this, I'm sorry for saying this. Like, I am so unserious. Please do not take me as whatever I am. But growing up, I do have to say that the entire ISIS situation that happened when I was like 15, 14, 14, 15 was really impacted the way I viewed Muslim and like the Islamic religion, because of the fact that I was hella bullied by like a bunch of dumb teenage boys in my high school that basically bullied me because they thought I was religious. They thought I was Muslim, and they kept on telling me, "Oh, you're gonna bomb the school because you're Muslim." And I was like, even if I was Muslim, like what's the issue with that? A lot of people growing up were quite bothered with the fact that I was at an age where I was discovering what I believe in, and I was at an age where I didn't really know what I wanted to believe in, but at the same time, everyone was so quick to tell me, hey, listen, you need to identify with something because everyone else needs something to be able to judge you off of. It's the same way I came out as being bisexual when I was 14, and I did it because so many people kept on asking me what my sexuality was, even when I didn't know what it was, you know? Like, I knew what I liked. I never knew there was a label for it, but at the same time, people just kept on asking me and kept on wanting to know. And oh God, so many people kept on. I know it was just jokes, but so many people made jokes of like, oh, Hafid, because I used to hang out around so many girls growing up, and I feel like that's like a sign, but like, I grew up around so many girls, and I just got along with girls so much. But so many of these people, like so many of my friends, would say, "Oh, Hafid, would be so fun if we had a gay best friend," and I'd be like, "Maybe you could," but also at the same time, I'm like, "Why are you saying this?" It's making me feel kind of insecure because I'm like, am I coming off as being gay? You know, which is it's nothing wrong, but being like the age I was, which was 14, I'd be like scared that I'm like being outed or something. But also at the same time, it's such like a individual thing that I don't know why I felt pressure to like identify with something. I felt I like growing up, I was this like nuance of like Hafid is this different thing. And I couldn't really relate to anyone around me that looked or just had the same personality as me. So most of the times I would just go around being like, this is me. I don't know what I am supposed to do. I don't know how I'm supposed to act. I don't know who I am. And yeah, I mean, kind of happy that I came out at such a young age because, like, at this point, I don't really care, which is also kind of weird because so many people, when they meet me, they feel so like scared to ask what my sexuality is and like, am I not straight? Oh God. And I hate because okay, this is kind of a bad thing about me. I do this accidentally, but also at the same time, some people do it without knowing. Yeah, this is a bit weird, but basically, I refer to anything which is not straight, anything which is kind of somewhat flexible as being gay. Gay. That is gay. That is gay. And sometimes people would be like, "Oh, you're gay," and I'd be like, "No, I'm bi. Technically, I am bisexual, but like at the same time, you can call me gay, but at the same time, don't get it twisted. Don't don't be surprised if I'm caught making out with a girl or a guy. That easy, or like anyone in between. I don't really care about a person's gender identity. If I like you, I just like you. That's simple. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, that's how I identify. I just like whoever I like. And this could change, and I'm open to that. I hate the idea of me living life with any sort of border or any sort of like restriction. If I want to be a person who like gets to experience life and experience it fully. You know, Anything that comes my way, I want to like be able to say yes to and just be able to like fully immerse myself in life because like life has so much to offer. And I feel like if I tell myself, no, I can't do this, no, I can't do that, like, what's the point? What's the harm? If I want to kiss a guy, I'll kiss a guy. If I want to kiss a girl, I'll kiss a girl. I mean, it's the same thing with religion. Like, I've dabbled in so many religions, and I've dabbled in so many. I mean, dabbled. I've never been like fully invested in a religion. Most of the times, I do religious stuff to be able to go along with other people. Like, for example, when I'm visiting my Moroccan side of the family, which is my mom's side, we go to mosques, and I really do enjoy that experience, and it's really nice. But at the same time, when I'm in Malta, I do go to church with my friends for fun. That sounds bad, but like, it is fun because it's so nice to see other people believe and other people so immersed in the idea of this, I don't know, this business. I mean, I hate religions, not gonna lie, just because of how businessy they are and how like commercial they are, because that's a whole other thing. But I don't mind like the activities, I guess. I literally attended a Catholic youth group. It's funny. I started attending this Catholic youth group because my friends would go to it. It was every Thursday after school, and I felt the biggest FOMO not being able to go to this group. So I literally messaged the group asking if I can still attend but not be Catholic officially. You know? And they're like, yeah, you can attend, and then you would see me during masses just sit on the side, not do anything. But also when I'm like attending masses and when I'm attending these like religious things, I'll I'll do certain things just to play along, Like in masses, if people, it's so funny when people get up, when you're sitting down and then the priest says something and you need to get up standing, I stand up. I stand up. And then there's a part in every mass that they're like, please look around and give peace to your neighbor or something like that. And then I have these like these like weird ass, not weird ass people, I'm sorry, they're really nice, but I'll have these people that I've never met. They'll look over at me and be like, may peace be upon you. In Maltese it's like Pachimiak, and I'm like, thanks. Pachimiak call, but also I don't believe, so I don't know if it counts. Like, I hope I'm giving you peace. I hope I'm not like giving like sending you to hell because you said Bajimiak to me, like. But like it's so funny because they'll look at me and then 5 minutes later they'll get up to be able to go get the wafer thing, and I'd be like, oh, I can't get up. I'm sorry. Like you need to like. I'm not taking it. You can go ahead of me, and they'll give me this look of like, did we lose you? Why don't you just come along? And I'm like, I just am not religious. I'm not Catholic. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, it just is me. It's like, I appreciate religions, but like, it's like window shopping. I'll just see it. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's nice. But at the same time, I'm like, nothing. Like, it never, like, the closest thing to religious I got was this is gonna sound so dumb. There's this YouTuber, her name is Harmony Nice, and this girl, to me, being I don't know what age, I know I was in like my preteen teen years. She's really hot. She is chef's kiss. She's like Aphrodite level of like beauty. And I remember watching her YouTube videos about her being Wiccan and doing witchcraft, and that era of YouTube where everyone was getting into witchcraft and everyone was doing tarot readings and everyone was burning incense and stuff like that. Me seeing her and me seeing her do like practicing in Wiccan and like witchcraft stuff, I felt like I believed in that. I did not believe in it, but I decided to fully invest myself in it just because she explained it. And I'm telling you, this is the closest thing I've got into a cult to. We never did any cult activities, but when I tell you I was like a follower of this girl and a follower of her journey, and then she stopped posting, and I just distanced myself off of everything. And years like now looking back, I'm like, damn, that was a weird era of mine. Like, I don't know what happened. It was weird. But yeah, I fully invested myself in that religion. It's like a new age religion, but I fully invested myself in it just because I really got interested by what Harmony was saying, and I was like, "Yep, sign me up. I'm ready to be religious all of a sudden just because she's talking about it. Like, give me a hot person talking about religions, and I'll be fully invested. It's why I'm into K-pop. No, imagine, imagine there's like a K-pop religion. There's like a group which comes out. A group should come out with a religious, um, like a cult. That's Red Velvet. That's Red Velvet. I'm sorry, but yeah, cult aesthetics, cult concept, religious concept. Imagine. But yeah, I've never really fully believed in there being a higher being or something. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry. Like, it's weird because I say that, but at the same time, I'm not a non-believer of like ghosts and spirits, but I feel like that's more of like because I've experienced stuff. But when I say I experience stuff, I experience psychological stuff. Like I have really bad sleep paralysis, and I have really bad nightmares, and my sleep, like insomnia and stuff like that, is really bad. So in terms of like ghosts and the paranormal, I feel like that is what I've experienced. Like even when I was home alone because my family was away on holiday, I've experienced so many things throughout that trip when I was home alone, like in my own house. Um I just experienced certain things that made me question whether or not I was alone. But also at the same time, I do believe that like ghosts and spirits are just us giving into our own psychological fears, I guess. But yeah, certain things that happened which were kind of weird was like I would like go to bed, wake up, and the kitchen light would be on, or like the Christmas tree light outside would be on, or like I'd go into the bathroom and the toilet paper is like rolled down, even though I remember me turning off the lights or like rolling up the toilet paper. Those certain things, which to be fair, I could have done whilst being half asleep. I wake up, go to the bathroom, accidentally switch the kitchen light on, and I don't know it. But yeah, certain things also happened to me when I was younger, which were actually paranormal, and I'm like, this is not normal. I do believe in there being sort of some level of like spiritual energy which is weird because then I say I don't believe in like God. I don't believe in God. I don't believe there is a higher being though. I don't believe there is like this figurehead. I don't believe there is a rule system in the. Hmm? My dad's dying. No. Um, I said that because he's coughing. I don't know if the mic picked it up. Oh god, I don't wanna sound like I'm manifesting something. Yeah, he was just coughing. My dad coughs throughout the night. A lot of yeah, my dad coughs, my mom talks, my brother talks throughout the night, but no comment. No comment as I am commenting about it. But basically, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why, and it doesn't make sense to me because I say I believe in ghosts, but I don't believe in God. But to me, in my head, it does make sense somewhat. I also do believe in aliens, but not in the way that aliens are in movies, if that makes sense. I do believe in there being life outside of Earth. It's like bound to happen. I feel like it's really easy to explain most religions and most mythologies and most historical evidence we do have of aliens or of ghosts or anything like that. But when it comes to like religion, it's so individually controversial and like debatable. Because let's say that tomorrow Christianity is proven to be real. What's stopping, like, apart from the major heads of religion, so Muslim and Judaism, from being proven to be real? What's stopping from like Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, I don't know what else, like paganism, like if we're getting into like mythologies, we have Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Celtic, like so much of our culture is based around religions and around these like gods that I'm like, if I'm to believe in one god, why not believe in all of them? And like the probability of there being this god rather than the other is literally the same. There isn't any leveling system to it. No one's telling you that this god is more likely to be than this god. For all I know, there could be another Hafidos being the god. No, I should not say that. That is blasphemy. That is wrong. But what's stopping from God being a cat in the sky or an elephant or like there's this one religion that believes that God is like a big spaghetti monster, and it's so funny that people believe that. The followers of this religion were pasta strainers as hats. I feel like it's a troll religion, but it's so funny to see. Like sometimes it comes up on my TikTok, and it's so entertaining. But what is stopping from these realities from being real? I guess. And yeah, that's why I don't really believe in any religion. I don't see myself believing in anything. And to be fair, if you were to ask, like, I believe that religions were created just to be able to comfort people from knowing the unknown. We're so scared of not knowing what there is from the unknown. Like even in mythologies, gods were created around like unexplainable things and elements, and this entire thing of nature just becoming a god itself is what we see. And to be fair, in today's day and age, we see religion be a comfort place for people who are scared of death, and it's just like this comforting thing that, hey, listen, life doesn't end when you die. You just keep on living. You go to heaven or to hell or to limbo or I don't know, to nirvana, or you reincarnate. And to be fair, I'm happy with it just ending. I'm not scared like of that. So to be fair, I'm not really interested, nor do I want to know what happens after you die, nor do I believe that anything happens after you die. I believe that once you die, you just die. You die. Do you remember what happened before you were born? No, exactly. You won't remember what happens after you die. And I don't really get why so many people are concerned to know what happens after you die. Like, haven't you lived enough? I would hate to die and then to find out that I have another life that I have to live forever. Like, forever is such a long time. I don't want to do that forever. You know? Like, no, please sign me out of it. I'll be happy with, I don't know, like reincarnation or something. Like, yeah, bring me back as some other entity, as some other animal or some other human being. I don't know. But no, I don't like the idea of having this like eternal life, some other place, or I don't know. Growing up, I would always ask my mom, I'm like, so if I go to heaven, is it always happy there? And my mom would be like, yes, heaven is like the perfect place. And I'm like, I don't like that. Or for example, one time I cried because I asked my mom, I was like, so if people don't believe in the same religion as, so for example, if I'm Muslim and people don't believe in the Muslim heaven, will they go to the Muslim heaven? And my mom went, no, people who don't believe in the Muslim heaven won't go to the Muslim heaven. And I'm like, yeah, and sorry, I think I'm not referring to the name right. The Muslim heaven is called Jannah, which is like heaven. Yeah. It's funny because in Maltese it's called Jannah, which is like heaven. It's the Catholic one. But yeah, my mom told me no, and I started sobbing because I was like, "What do you mean? My friends won't be there? People who are good and like just because they didn't have the ability to believe in another religion, they won't be there." And even just the entire idea that you're telling me that people who, let's say we have this God that judges people off of what they've done in their lives. If there was a kid who was brought up thinking that murder is right and they do it thinking it is the right thing to do, you're telling me once the kid dies, he's going to hell? You're telling me that people that kill themselves will go to hell? I can't say that. Ugh, I feel like I need to believe that. I'm sorry, but I feel like this podcast episode will get flagged because I mentioned I have to mouth it for anyone who's listening to the audio version of this podcast. It's ending oneself. Yeah, that's the wording. Sometimes Spotify flags that and you can't upload an episode because of it, and it's frustrating. So yeah, you're telling me that people who do certain things might not go to heaven just because they might have been in dark places in their lives, or they might have been not in the right frame of thinking. Like, come on, you're telling me you're gonna judge them for the rest of their lives for something dumb they did, or something that they did out of, I don't know, like pure frustration or pure, like, acting in the moment. Sometimes you say something, sometimes you do something and you regret it later. Like, it doesn't mean that you should get judged for the rest of your life about it. Like, come on. That's like the most, I feel like that's so unfair, but also at the same time, it is the most unrealistic thing to happen. If we were to live in a realistic like world where a god does exist, I feel like God wouldn't be as nice as people make him out to seem. The Old Testament, I feel like that would be like a god. You know how in Greek mythology, like gods would go down and like turn themselves into humans or animals, and they would like go with women and like go with men and impregnate, and they're chaotic. I feel like that is what the natural order is actually is, because if we look at animals and if we look at just like these natural beings, no one can explain the way they act because they act the way they know. Animals just act the way they know. And we have animals that eat them, like eat their partners. We have animals that are able to impregnate themselves. We have animals which are able to like, who like literally kill their children if they're ever threatened, because that's what they know, and it's like not like natural. What was I gonna say? Human instinct. It's not, it's animal instinct, it's the natural instinct. And yeah, it just is what it is. And even the entire argument of people being like gay people aren't natural, or like that entire thing, because recently I had a discussion with my mom about this. Literally, animals have been seen and have been shown to be gay, and have been, I don't know, they have been studied, and they've, like, I literally had an argument with a kid in school once because he said that animals act gay out of desperation and not like humans. He said that if you put two animals together and they're the same sex, of course they're gonna go with each other because they're desperate. What? Excuse me, no, that's not how things work. And he's like, no, you can't compare humans to animals and animals to humans. Like, okay, I get that. I feel like a lot of things that humans do cannot be justified by animals, because at the same time we are people with consciousness, and but at the same time it's really dumb, naive, and very irresponsible of humans to say that we are the most, like, the smartest animal, because I swear to God, there's smarter animals out there. I've seen like documentaries about dolphins. Dolphins are so smart. Like, what? There's even like a whole ass study about like a woman falling in love with a dolphin, if I'm not mistaken. Like, are we not gonna talk about that? There's so much stuff about like, there's so much. Oh God. Okay. There's so much we don't understand from animals, and yet we are looking to find alien species. We have yet to learn so much about our own world, but yet we are here seeking the unattainable because we want to get to a level where we're like, whoa, this is what we expected. Expect the unexpected. That is the entire thing you need to learn about life. Life is just that. Expect the unexpected, and the more chaotic and the crazier your life is, the better it is. Trauma builds plot. Trauma builds lore. The more traumatic your life is, the more stories you have to tell. But also at the same time, please take care of yourself. I don't want to sound like, I don't want to put trauma victims down. I feel bad for saying that. But at the same time, it does sometimes, like, having a simple, mundane life is not always the best. But also at the same time, people who experience trauma do not deserve what they get, you know? But when I say trauma, it's coming from a really dumb place where I'm saying it out of like me being so chronically online and, you know, like, I don't know what I'm saying at this point. I'm sorry. It's been like an hour and 15 minutes, and at this point I'm just yapping. But yeah, those are where I feel like I got really personal with this. Those were some things I don't believe anymore. I don't know if I want to mention anything else before I end off this episode. I don't want to end it off at the 1 hour mark, you know. I wanna yap a bit more. What else don't I believe in? Hmm. I don't believe that you can live a guilt-free sustainable lifestyle. That's something else. A lot of people try to go down these routes of being vegan or like crazy sustainable, and like, I don't know, they try to act like they're these woke individuals, whereas in reality we are all giving our taxes to governments which are funding really bad like things happening in the world, like for example with the US government funding Israeli bombs which are being sent over to Palestine, and they're bombing, and they're, you know, giving more and more support to the genocide, which is very fucked up. But even like animal slaughter and, like, you know, it being unsustainable, I feel like someone I've learned a lot from is Maya Higa. She has this sanctuary called Alveus, and when I tell you, this woman has so much knowledge, and I just listen to her talk about the way she sees animals, the way we should take care of animals, and just the entire thing of, hey, listen, just because we coexist with animals doesn't mean that we should like not eat animal byproducts, because at the same time we are omnivores, you know. And she does talk about her, I believe now she is fully vegetarian or vegan, I'm not sure, but she did start off just being flexitarian, and she explained that if you get your meat sourced from someone, you know, like if you get your animal byproducts sourced from, what's it called again, like, basically you need to be aware of where your stuff comes from and where you're sourcing that material from, because if you just go at it with just buying the cheapest and quickest thing, of course someone has sort of paid for that. Going and buying fast food and getting a burger which is 10 euros is like, there is some sort of like, there is some sort of bad thing to that. Something along the line is being fucked, I guess. And it's the same thing as like people buying from Shein or Temu. You know, it's cheap, but it's convenient. But like at the same time, who is paying for that? Why is it like that? If it seems to be too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Yeah, I was vegetarian for 6 months. That's some extra lore about Hafidos. Um, but I didn't continue being vegetarian just because it wasn't sustainable for my family to fund my lifestyle. Like, I would literally, like, I was vegetarian when I was 15, if I'm not mistaken, and my family was literally buying two shoppings every time just because they had their own shopping and they also had my shopping, which was the vegetarian stuff. But somewhere down the line, once I do live on my own and once I do start, like, being responsible of, like, taking care of what I do eat on a day-to-day basis, I would like to start incorporating much more sustainable things, as well as trying to move away from animal byproducts and just meats in general, and slowly move towards just a more organic lifestyle. But also at the same time, I can't eat most meats and I can't eat most things because I myself am quite a picky eater. And when I say picky eater, I don't mean I'm like picky about the foods I eat. It just is certain things. Because when I say I am a foodie, I am a foodie. I live to eat. I don't eat to live. I live to eat. I love food so much. Like, I love food. But for example, with meats, I can't eat meat which has bones, which is such a weird thing. But I cannot eat meats which have bones. So for example, drumsticks, I cannot. Wings, I cannot. T-bone steak, I can't. Fish, most fish, I can't. I can eat sushi, salmon. Salmon needs to be like a fillet. Chicken breast, I love chicken breast. Tuna, canned tuna, I love canned tuna so much. It just is those things which, I don't know, I feel like if I eat something, I need it to be like as digestible as possible, I guess. And the less it looks like the animal, the better. Because if it does look like the animal, for some reason, I cannot eat it. Like, I'll actually start like feeling like I'm about to vomit. Also, I'm saying about to vomit. I do have emetophobia, which is like the fear of vomit. I don't fear vomit when I see someone else vomit. Like, I've helped my friends when they've been drunk. I've been the guy to hold someone's hair, but when it is with me, when I was younger, I did go through asthma. I was born with asthma, but at the age of like 4 or 5 or later, okay, maybe like at the age of 6 7, I did grow out of it. Um, but I had really bad asthma, like asthma. I did have really bad asthma where we literally had like oxygen tanks at home, which, yeah, that was really serious. But basically, what happened was, when I was younger, I would like, if I cried a lot, I would start like losing my breath. And even if I vomited, I would start losing my breath. So I think that's why I don't cry a lot. And that's why I am scared to vomit. I'm scared as in, like, when I do feel like I'm about to vomit, I do everything I can not to vomit. And if I do start gagging, I'll start panicking. Like, I'll actually start like I cannot stop shaking and panicking. Yeah, because it just triggers some sort of PTSD in my head. I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna die, but in reality, I'm not gonna die, and it's fine. But I don't know, it's something. Yeah. Okay, I feel like I've said a lot. I've yapped a lot. This episode has been nice. You've learned a lot about me. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. Next episode is gonna be the final episode. Please do, please, if you are watching this, I am working on a post and I am working on like pushing this out. But in reality, if you are watching this, you are the person I am seeking out and you are the person that I want to be able to engage and interact with. But if you are listening to this, please send over a voice memo over on Instagram at Late Night Talks Pod. Send over a voice memo saying a final message or just saying something or just asking a question or just even like your New Year's resolution, just to be able to hold yourself accountable for next year. I do want to give a voice to the people that are watching me. It's the final episode and I do want to be able to like interact with the people that are watching me and sort of have this like two-way system to the podcast. the way it's gonna work is you're gonna send over the voice memo. I'm gonna record all of that over on OBS and like import into the podcast episode. I'll be listening in to the voice recordings during the episode, and I'll be reacting to them and sort of like giving a response to them, but also at the same time like, yeah, just interacting with people that actually listen and care about the podcast. And yeah, if you are listening to the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. You don't know how much this means to me, and you don't know how much like just you wanting to tune in really does like add that like warm feeling to my heart. And yeah, it just is so nice to have people who are actually interested in you. And yeah, I can't believe that people actually do tune in to me yapping and saying dumb stuff to a camera for like an hour whilst I'm on my bed. Yeah, but I also feel like this isn't the dumbest thing people do on the internet. So yeah, to be fair, it just is my quiet little corner. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Rate this podcast 5 stars on all streaming platforms. Comment your favorite. Comment what you don't believe in anymore. Comment something you don't believe in anymore for this episode. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next episode, the final episode. By the way, I'm saying the final episode. Season 2 will be coming back in 2025, so don't even think about me stopping the podcast for good. I'm just going to be taking a break and like, taking a step back from the podcast, upgrading everything, being able to work on season 2 to come back bigger and better than ever. So yeah, I do hope that people don't actually think I'm just gonna stop the podcast forever and that's it, because I do love this podcast way too much to be able to just let go of it just like that. But sometimes letting go is fine, and sometimes moving on is fine. So yeah. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please don't forget to do everything I already mentioned. And yeah, I'll see you in my next episode. Bye. Bye bye. Bye. I hope you have an amazing Christmas. And yeah, happy Christmas Eve. And I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye.